Hi, I'm Orient, and today I'll be reviewing Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. About this book. Murder on the Orient Express is a piece of detective fiction by the English writer Agatha Christie, featuring the Belgian detective Hercule Poirot. The story was partially inspired by the Lindenberg case, a shocking real-life case following the kidnapping of international hero Lindenberg's 21-year-old son, who was held for a $50,000 ransom. The ransom was paid, but unfortunately Lindenberg's son was never returned. I shall now tell the summary of Murder on the Orient Express. Hercule Poirot, a private detective and retired Belgian police officer, boards a tourist express to Istanbul. On the train, there are two other passengers, Mary Debenham and Colonel Arbuthnot. The two act as if they are strangers, but Poirot notices their behavior that suggests that they are not. Poirot is suspicious of the couple. The train arrives in Istanbul and Poirot checks in at the Turkline Hotel. As soon as Poirot arrives, he receives a telegram sending him back to London. While waiting at the hotel for the next train, Poirot bumps into a good friend of his, M. Bouc, head of the Wagenlit. M. Bouc arranges a space for Poirot on the Orient Express. In the dining room of the Turkline Hotel, Poirot first spots Ratchet and Hector McQueen eating dinner. Poirot knows that Ratchet is an evil man, and he describes him to M. Bouc as an animal. The next day, Ratchet lies dead in his compartment, stabbed a dozen times, his door locked from the inside. Isolated and with a killer in their midst, Detective Hercule Poirot must identify the murderer, in case he or she decides to strike again. Now I will present my analysis of two great detectives, Hercule Poirot and Sherlock Holmes. First, we will look into the time and location. Hercule Poirot's books take place in 1920s and 1930s and travel across Europe. And on the other hand, Sherlock Holmes is a detective based in the 1850s and operates entirely out of London. All of the crimes happen in and around London. Now, let's compare their personalities. Poirot was short, somewhat vain, with brillianted hair and a waxed moustache. And Holmes has essentially an obsessive personality. He works compulsively on all his cases, and his deductive powers are phenomenal. Lastly, we will compare their traits. Poirot is a very likable character despite his moral and intellectual greatness. However, Holmes is known to get engulfed in periods of depression between cases and is known to take cocaine when he cannot stand the lack of activity. In my conclusion, I would recommend Murder on the Orient Express. It is a brilliant detective fiction book. Thank you for listening.